is NTV.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are beginning the afternoon exercise, a panel discussion on what can we do to stop corruption.
The adoption of the UN Convention Against Corruption. There is an interesting foreword written by the then Secretary General Kofi Annan. He observes, corruption is an insidious plague that has a wide range of corrosive effects on societies. Quite strong, and I think it is still relevant today. This was 2003. It undermines democracy and the rule of law and leads to violations of human rights, distorts markets, erodes the quality of life, and allows organized crime, like terrorism and other threats to human security, to flourish. That convention had three key objectives. Of course, to promote and strengthen measures to prevent and combat corruption. The other was to promote and facilitate and support international cooperation. And lastly, to promote integrity, accountability, and proper management. But the point I want to make is that the passing of that convention, the adoption of that convention, which was operationalized 2 years after, in 2005, the demands that are contained there gave rise to what we are today and corruption structures we have today. For instance, it required that member states set up anti-corruption agencies. I think we have the Inspectorate of Government that was created around that time, 2002, 2003. Set up financial, they were required to set up financial intelligence units. I think ours came a little much later. But the World Bank Group assisted member states to enact laws to fight corruption and corrupt practices such as leadership codes, financial management and accountability, the ombudsman laws, anti-corruption agents laws, public procurement laws, anti-corruption acts, and money laundering laws, including anti-terrorism laws. That's the period between 2002 and 2010. They all get their root from that convention. Corruption is complex. You don't have to convince anybody about that.
I'd like to invite IGG to also come on the panel, especially since usually the IGG ends up answering most of the questions. So if she's here, then people are looking at her and targeting the questions directly. Justice Gidudu, partners in service that have sponsored the event, GIZ and Sugar, strengthening Uganda's anti-corruption response, the staffs of agencies, media here, and the public at large, welcome to this afternoon's discussion. And beginning with you, Imam Kasozi, with the questions directly to you. What are you doing yourself to stop corruption?
Not doing it, not being corrupt.
Thank you very much for not being corrupt, Imam Kasozi. How would an imam be corrupt?
Number one, have you ever thought in your life that that favor given to you is a trap for you to be corrupt tomorrow? A favor, just a favor. That's number one. Two, many of us in this room have graduated, we have had weddings, we have had functions, and we have received gifts. Have you ever imagined that a gift given to you is also a trap to make you corrupt at some stage? The last question I would like to pose. Many of us have been appointed in various positions. Sometimes believing probably we are not the most capable, but we have been appointed. Have you also ever considered that appointment as a stage to make you corrupt at a given time? In 1984, I was an undergraduate at Makerere University studying a paper called Criminology in Sociology, and I was taught by two prominent Ugandans, both late, may God have mercy on both, Professor Mwine Mshanga and Professor Abraham Kiapi. And when we reached corruption, they raised many issues to make us aware. And one of the issues they say is that gift given to you on graduation day, given by a villager in your village, his or her only goat, you have graduated and he brings it as a present, as a gift. And you think it ends there. Then you are appointed in an office, or you grow and become an important person. And this person comes to you for some work, and then you don't do it and he remembers his goat or her goat. And then he says, hey, you see, I gave him my gift hoping that I would get a favor. I have not got it. Then he goes or she goes cursing you. And he says, it is a sign. We are going to Christmas. And one example Mshanga gave us then was that he was a DC in Mbale, and an Indian trader gave him some gifts for Christmas, but he later realized that the intention was to help him smuggle his goods into Uganda then, 1964. Then also, if you read in some corrupt book about corruption, the way how that petrol station called the Capital Shell, do you know Capital Shell? On Kampala Road, where it is located, should it have been there? He said it was there because of corruption. It was an example in a class, 1984. I was a third-year student. But I still vividly recall that. And I remember, because they used to ask us, set your questions and answer them for coursework. And one of the, what is corruption? And we took a lot of time to look at it. But many people, many of the things we do, we don't think we are corrupt. And that's why I think corruption becomes huge. So,
before you
yes.
come off that one, there was a movement previously, and the movement advocated that religious leaders should maybe stop giving front positions to people that they know who are corrupt. Because you've heard in the speeches in the morning that our tolerance has increased to the point that corruption is no longer one of the serious crimes. So you might find a corrupt person taking the front seat in church, the front position in the mosque, and welcomed even by remarks from a priest or an imam like yourself.
Yes.
And then secondly, we do know cases. For example, recently there's been some success on a pension case. So have you preached about it whenever you stand at to preach to a congregation? ED.
Preaching is normal and we do it. Even the corrupt will preach against corruption. You see, me, I will tell you a spade, my spade, because the case why I was bringing the police, for example, I passed, you know, what do we, these street lights, what do we call them? Traffic lights. They have 3 colors. I don't know how many of us know the use of the 3. The majority of us know the use of the 2. The red and the green. The orange we don't know. Okay? So you will see people stopping when it is orange. Instead of saying, because orange is warning you, hurry and go. So one time I hurried and go and went. And then I was stopped by the police officer. He said, you passed by. I said, I do know these lights. I went to a training school that was better. It taught me how to drive. And two, I know what I'm doing. I know I am a Ugandan who knows my rights. So I have no case. He insisted. This officer said, okay, we go, give me your permit. I don't release my permit to police officers because when you release, they put in the pocket and they use it as a strength. Instead of showing you that you are mistake and accepting, they want to use it. That's also part of corruption. Because they put it and then they become strong. I didn't. Then I told him, what is the problem? He said, okay, we go to the police. Then he wants to sit in my car. I tell him, cite for me law that I should take you to your police station. Two, a case that takes me immediately to the police station should be criminal, and this is not criminal if I have a case. You have given me notice, I can come to the police when I want. Because of the nature of the offense, I don't know, the lawyers have a lot of names, misnomer, this whatever, they know how to twist the words. So I tell him, then he insists, I said I will not take you. Then I asked him, which police station do you want me to go? You will find me there. And I drove to the police station. I left him. It made him get annoyed. And I have done that twice. Another one, I was not the one driving, but I had to take that decision very rare until I had to try it, complaining, and I asked the officer to be disciplined. So corruption has a lot of issues because people think, and the way why it has been easy and it grows is because somebody thinks of being taken to a police station and he waits 30 minutes or 1 hour and then paying 1,000. He pays 1,000.
Thank you.
So I am saying lastly that what can we do? I will not tell you that we must become very faithful. We must increase our faith because you will tell me, you will show me some people who you think are very religious but very corrupt. Okay? They are only pretending to be religious. They have no faith. So,
thank you very much, Imam.
That is where we need to go.
Thank you. Let's give him a clap. And that's at the lower level, and a lot of reports are showing that there's a lot of lower level corruption that is like that. But coming back to you, Mr. Mugisa, at the higher level is where we find frauds. And how is your office, for example, helping the courts on fraud? How is your office helping IGG's office on the issue of fraud? Have you had a hand in the successful cases we've had? There are cases in the OPM office that have been about fraud, the pension troubles, there's fraud. Have you had, has the organization had a hand in that?
I would say I have worked closely with the government through GIZ, where I've done risk profiling, but also establishing forensic labs, especially in the Ministry of Finance, and also being involved in some cases which maybe I would say I may not have because of the non-disclosures of the nature of the cases we handle, I may not be able to disclose. But at the SFE level and also at my personal level, we have been involved significantly at the front line of fraud and corruption management. So we are, I don't know any other private forensic lab which can do full-scale digital forensics, so much that most of the cases, especially in the finance sector and the private sector, which have been able to successfully go to court, have gone through us, or the people we have trained ourselves. Now, the suspects are very highly connected, but also the suspects are empowered because they have a lot of money. A few years ago, we had the forensic lab which had established in Golobi, which we had the forensic and training lab. Now, we were involved in supporting a given case which involved a lot of money in one of the organizations in the private sector. And because these people knew we are handling the case, They came and took everything in that lab. Now, to the
Theft.
extent that...
Theft, they were stolen.
Yes, of course, the entire lab. Now, you see, this is a lab from a private perspective. You have invested around 200, 300 million shillings. Sometimes you have got a loan and you have set up that capabilities. So this is why when a case comes, our new approach is we must partner with government and support the people involved in the investigation, because our biggest weakness is the number. If somebody knows the capabilities is only at, say, ACFE or Summit or with Mustafa, then it is easier to remove one person. But if you go to Office of Auditor General, you find they are 1,000. You come to the IGG, you find they are 1,000. And remember, by the time you see many cases going to court and a huge backlog, what you should know in your back is that there is a poor investigation mechanisms, because there is no lawyer who is not brilliant, who is going to see a case which is overwhelmingly watertight and clear and say we go to court. By the time I choose to go to court, I'm saying, okay, I have high chances that I can get my way around the system, because this evidence is not so much what? Conclusive. So this is why, unless now it is deliberate, like IGG calls to say, we want to punish these people, so the matter should go to court. But when it comes to recovery of damages, which by far is the biggest weakness in this country, should be solved by, if you recover the property of the fraudster, there will then be a lot of damage to the beneficiaries of the fund. So meaning that by the time you proceed to go to, say, criminal and prosecute, you want to seek both these remedies, but you have recovered. Now, recovery fails because the investigation could not establish how much was lost, and they could not have sufficient evidence. So that by the time the matter goes to prosecution and you want to get the person to be seen as an example, then now the evidence also should be so good. Because if you look at the Auditor General report on the liability government has to be paying as a judgment data is excessive. We're talking about $1 trillion and above. Now, that should be explaining why would you be having a huge judgment date for government. So everybody is going to say, let us go to court. Why? Because investigation mechanism. So we have started the ACFE chapter to create capability. We have begun the Institute of Forensics and IT Security to create capability, as I told you, in that critical mode, so that when everybody and many have the capability, then you would say everybody will be aware that if you touch money which does not belong to you,
Yeah.
IGG will get you, and there's no about it.
Hard work, and the IGG's report says they trained 35 representatives of CSOs. So it isn't easy. Do you have some tips that you'd give to the public on how to do that, on combating corruption?
I have been studying corruption in this country for a very long period of time, and there are things which work and things which don't work. One of the things which does not work globally, I have been put on assignments to go to Kenya, to South Africa to run an investigation because of risk management. Because I know if I investigate in Uganda, it is likely that I could be harmed. So the best way, if they put me on a trip, I go to South Africa, do the work, come back, and I go. But the success rate has been almost 2% zero in terms of my impact. So fraud and corruption is country specific. You need local capabilities and techniques to investigate. This is why most of the trips we go abroad to learn investigation does not work, do not help us. And I think that's why having the Center of Excellence in Fraud Investigations in this country and having Lugandans running it is the best approach. Why? I give you an example. If somebody comes from, say, South Africa, supports an investigation or trains people, globally, I came with this report to show you perspective of the public. It is called the Report to the Nations. It is published annually by the Association of Certified Fraud Examiners. And this report of the nation shows that in many countries, people steal to prove that the systems don't work. In Uganda, people are stealing because the kid is sick, because they can't go to school, because they don't have fuel. The Imam has just been telling you the cars cannot have fuel. So here we are rationalizing out of need, and we are using that as an excuse. Whereas the things abroad is somehow many people is to prove the systems don't work. So approaches, if you go and study and you have not contextualized, will not help you, because people here are stealing because the kid cannot go to school. So the motivations are completely different, and they call different approaches. So I would say the IG effort of training people is commendable, because the biggest problem in this country is lack of awareness. There is nothing which precedes awareness. when it comes to the fight against corruption
maybe
and fraud.
capability as well. Thank you very much. IGG Justice Mulyagonja, our keynote speaker, Justice Gidudu, talked about the frustration of prosecuting cases. A case can take 1 year. Mr. Mugisa seems to be saying the same thing. He says sometimes his return rate is 2%, and that is if he's been hidden somewhere out of the country. And the only one who may have success is Imam Kasozi, fighting lower level corruption. I've seen in your report that you had 24 officers suspended, but so far the big catch has been in the pension sector, and of course you have other cases that are ongoing. What 24 were suspended, yes, by the in the year 2015, 2016, yes. But I'm thinking about the challenges. If it was just down to opinion, you'd probably want to suspend 2,000. So if you finish off suspending 24, what are the frustrations in your office that you'd like to share with this audience, including the television audience?
When we talk of, thank you very much, Mr. Semwe. Thank you, Imam Kasozi, for your exposition of petty corruption and how the mind of the corrupt and the corrupted works. I appreciate the contribution of the forensic expert and the frustrations in investigations, technical frustrations, and the system not responding as fast as you want to. Now, 24 persons suspended, that must refer to 24 persons on PPDA website. Now, the process of suspension is best explained by PPDA. For us, we carry out investigations and make recommendations. As to whether a person is suspended, that would have to be a decision taken by PPDA. They have their own parameters of how they arrive at that. Now, investigations of corruption are not easy investigations. I will just reiterate that. Because you are investigating and investigating in the past. It's not real time. So for you to be able to piece together exactly what happened in this transaction, and sometimes it's a transaction that is involving many others. For instance, if it is a procurement and you are investigating to see whether this procurement was done properly, then you are going to go through those volumes of documents, because most times the complaints are about fraudulent documents that are given with the bid. They talk about references that are not exactly correct about the person who is being procured. And then for you to investigate the whole process, because if they say this person had fraudulent documents, you are not just going to look at that one person. You are going to look at the whole procurement and understand it. And that's when you arrive at the decision whether this person will be suspended or not. It's a very lengthy process. So that's why you see, for you to say you are going to suspend someone, or for PPDA to say they are going to suspend someone, they must have the evidence that it takes to suspend that person. Because there's also now a tribunal where a person can appeal if they are suspended. So if you don't have real evidence that is sufficient to suspend this person, then you will not be able to suspend them, because if you suspend them unduly, they will complain. And the same applies.
Interdiction?
Now, interdiction is not about procurement. Interdiction is in other processes in the public service. So interdiction is not related to the subject that you are talking about. Now, interdiction is a process in the public service where if a person is being investigated or a person is being prosecuted, the public